Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROKStudios. I'm Stan Miller. I'm PR and Analyst Relations Manager for Rockwell Automation in the EMEA region, and I'm joined today by Barry Long. He is Business Manager for Lifecycle Services for the United Kingdom and Ireland. Barry, welcome to the studio.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Yeah, really looking forward to this.
So, Barry, today we're here to talk a little bit about the journey from operational fragility to
Yeah.
resilience and navigating the UK manufacturing execution challenge. This is a great topic, so I'll just jump right in. So, Europe is clearly moving from digital ambition to execution, yet many organizations are still struggling to scale technology effectively. From your perspective, what's driving this gap between investment and operational outcomes? And how should manufacturers rethink their approach to closing that gap?
Yeah, I think Europe has been going through a very kind of interesting last, say, 10 years, right? So there's been a lot of talk about Industry 4.0. There's been both internally, externally, there's been lots of people saying that people are talking endlessly about the digital future. But I think what was happening was there was a misalignment between what a digital 4.0 actually was in terms of being in a boardroom. It was messaging that was really more aligned to greenfield. And the reality is that most manufacturing is in legacy plants, right? 30, 40-year old architecture, 30, 40-year-old machines. You meet customers and they're talking about PLC 5 and other manufacturer stuff that's really old. You can't build a digital future on on that type of foundation. And I think very particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a real noticeable shift in that. People are now looking to kind of get value out of the projects because number one, they're too expensive, and number two, the people aren't there.
That's interesting. Barry, we've talked in the past, and you've mentioned the
Yeah.
combination of aging assets, workforce transitions, the rising cyber exposure as creating this operational fragility. How is this reshaping the way manufacturers think about risk? And why is resilience now being treated as a business issue rather than purely a technical one?
Okay, so I think for me, the rise of cyber has actually been a good thing, right? The rise of the importance of the cyber risk has actually been really good, because I've just used that really important word in that sentence, risk, right? Um, Operational risk to do with obsolescence just never got the level of investment, and it was always very difficult to justify. But I think what's happening now is that what people I think are beginning to understand is that the legislation that's built around risk is the same legislation that was built that kind of shows an origination in safety. So now that has the language of risk built into it. And what I'm really kind of trying to see, and it's very encouraging to see, is that it's not very hard to push people to understand that risk is also about not having the right part, not having the right training. And that's built into the legislation around legislation and good thought leadership around cyber. So I'm encouraging our customers and people out there to, lean into the cyber thing, but lean into it in a right way. Don't lean into it as a technology or a software. It's a business risk. And I think this has also been compounded by the fact that, you know, 10 years ago, 2016, people are doing automation, were doing automation. Now they're not, but there's thousands and thousands of people leaving the workforce. So European averages are about 30% of the workforce of engineering is going to leave by about 2030. So that's a lot of knowledge. And all of these things are coinciding in maybe a perfect storm, but a perfect opportunity as well.
Interesting. Right. So our most recent State of Smart Manufacturing report, the findings
Hmm.
show that AI adoption is now nearly universal, yet the real challenge has shifted to scaling practical use cases. What does it take for manufacturers to translate digital capabilities, whether that's AI, digital twin, or data platforms, into that consistent operational value?
And again, I think it's actually the practical implementation of this is actually where people are beginning to realize that's where the secret sauce is, right? The secret sauce is not in a boardroom getting very, very, detailed conversations about, oh, we need to bring AI into our business because we're losing staff, or we're doing this, or we're doing X, Y, and Z, and we need to be more efficient, right? You can have all that. You can have all of that ambition. You can have all of that ambition that you want, but if your infrastructure is not capable of giving the data in a way that AI can make sense of it, AI doesn't matter. And I think it goes back to this idea that the initial excitement about AI, about digitization, and AI is just the latest and really is where we're going with this, is none of that will make any impact on anyone's business if they can't actually get their infrastructure to provide the data in the first place. So I think we're seeing the focus now on smaller projects with value quickly, because the greenfield kind of large project thing, too expensive, too difficult, and really plans rarely went as they were expected.
Interesting. Barry, you've described a structured, data driven path to operational resilience built on visibility,
Yeah.
governance, standardization, and a sustainable approach. How should manufacturers prioritize these elements in practice? And what distinguishes organizations that are successfully building resilience from those that are still operating reactively?
Yeah, and I think this is where you really need leadership in organizations, right? Because if you look at a factory, if you look at any factory today, and you look at the way that they're run by different departments. You've IT, you've OT, you have training departments, you've all of those departments, and really they all operate independently, right? And they may talk about being operating together, but in reality, that doesn't really happen. But I think the other reality that is that I'm trying to get across to people is understanding your install base, understanding the risks that you have, just literally down to open up all your panels, look what's in there physically, or look using technology, and actually then align that with what's in your storeroom. The reality for everybody, we have never seen a report yet that doesn't produce a list that says you have got X amount of stock that doesn't have that has no use because it's not installed in your install base. You have X amount of stock that you should have that you don't have, and they're all risks, and they're risks that actually have a financial impact. But I think because people are looking at risk in a more holistic way now, we're encouraging people to have holistic conversations. Get your multi departments into a room. Get the finance guy, get the HR guy into a room about assets. Why would you do that? Well, you're doing that to get them to understand that they're part of the solution as well.
Makes perfect sense. Barry, a great pleasure having you in
Yeah,
the studio today. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about industrial automation and digital transformation, visit rockwellautomation.com.